Hi, everyone. How are you? Can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay, awesome. I'm going to get started in just a minute. I am just letting all of our friends in to join us. So excited about tonight's class. I just got finished cutting a few things because I wanted to share too much with you. And I think I already have too much, but don't worry. You're going to get all the recipes no matter if I say them to you verbally tonight or not. All right. Happy day, happy day. How's everybody feeling? How are you doing? You doing okay? It is a party tonight. You friends are really in the mood for some home remedies. I love this. I am so pumped about this. Okay, what we are going to talk about this evening, we are going to be discussing Lost Kitchen Remedies. And that topic is going to include, I tried to go and pare it down. I may actually have to do a part 2 because there are so many different directions that we can go off of right now. What I'm going to focus on tonight is really going to be in overall wellness and immune system support. It's going to be on upper respiratory support. It's going to be on fever, earaches, like all the things for fall and winter time. Okay. All the things that kind of creep around at this time of year. So that's going to be what I'm focused on tonight. But as I was writing this class, I was thinking, oh my gosh, we could do one just on all herbal teas and how many benefits we could do just from teas. I included a couple tea recipes in here, but as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about digestive support. I was thinking about so many different things. So that's what I'm going to be covering tonight. And before we get started, if you can find the chat feature, and I want you to share with me, sorry, just something that you used to do, or maybe your mom did with you, or your grandmother did with you, or an aunt, or somebody like when you were growing up, or something that you still do to this day, which would be considered a home remedy when somebody is under the weather in your home or you yourself are not feeling well. I want to hear a little something because I was hearing all sorts of different stories this week when I posted this on social media. I had a friend, she's not in here now, but she had told me that her mother or her grandmother used to put mackerel, like fish, on her feet and wrap them in cloths before she would go to bed. I was like, oh, holy mackerel. Like that is wild, right? So I haven't had a chance to research that yet. And I'm not sharing that with you tonight, but are there any things that you did growing up or that you still do today? You know, my mom is not in here, but they used a lot of whiskey in her household, even for kids, like, right, on gums and things like that. And she also used something else that I'm not even quite sure, mercuricum, something like that. Anybody recognize that? I don't know. She just said that they would use it all the time. And I'm like, what even is that? Like, I need to look this up, but I'm not quite sure about that. So share below and let us know what is something that you used in your home. And then I'm going to share with you tonight all the different things that we use in our home and what I've learned along the way from different friends too. All the kids castor oil for whatever was wrong. I have heard that before too. Lots of use of castor oil. Whiskey shot when you have a cold. Yep. I didn't experience that, but I definitely have heard that so many different times. Blackberry brandy, mercurochrome. Okay, March. So you know what my mom's talking about there. All right. And castor oil too. Okay. Anything else that anyone has to share? Warm Coke for a bellyache. Yes. I know we used to do like flat soda in our house, like flat ginger ale, and that would be that and like crackers, like that was whatever was wrong. I would have like some stale saltines next to my bed and some warm ginger ale. Rock and rye on my gums when teething. Okay. Coke syrup. So not actual Coke, but the syrup. I heard that recently too. Just using the different syrups. That makes me think of when I was a fountaineer and back in my day working at Friendly's. Anyone else have anything to share that is like a home remedy? None of these I'm sharing this evening, by the way. So I'm hoping that what I'm sharing tonight is going to be a little bit new. Okay. Well, if you think of anything pops up, you have any flashbacks as we're going over things this evening, please feel free to share them in the comments as well. And black salve. Ooh, what'd you use that for? Was that like for everything? I haven't ever heard of that. I don't know. I know I had a friend share with me a garlic salve this week, which I thought was really interesting. I'm going to try that. Oh, for drawing out a splinter. I like that, to draw out infection. Okay, nice. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get started. I'm going to put my presentation up and I'm going to do my best to take a look to see if anyone else is trying to get in. And if you have a friend who is trying to get in, just be patient with me. You can always message me or just kind of unmute and let me know as well. And we are going to get started. By the way, well, yeah, I'll introduce myself in the presentation. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about Lost Kitchen Remedies. My name is Sarah Marie Paul. This is my email. You will receive an email from me afterwards if you fill out the little 2-minute long Google Doc with all of these recipes. So feel free to take notes, but I will send you this full presentation in PDF form so that you will have access to all the things. And here's my contact information. This is myself and my family, my husband, Steve, my son, Cooper. This is my Instagram. This is my Facebook. Both are Mindful Oil Moments. And this is my website as well, where you can find more information, as well as my YouTube channel. And I say that because there are many of the things that I'm going to be sharing this evening that I have done YouTube tutorials on. So you can see step-by-step videos if you're a visual person. And some of these are multi-step, so they may be helpful as well. And I went backwards. Okay, so our talk tonight, here's what we're going to cover. We are going to cover what exactly is a kitchen remedy. We are going to cover some overall wellness recipes, some upper respiratory support, and then specifically for ears and fever. And at the end, I'm going to share some resources with you for those of you who really enjoy reading, who find this topic really interesting, some books that will have a ton, like a plethora of other recipes in them as well. So what is a kitchen remedy? Well, I am also letting you know that I'm sharing this for informational purposes only. I am not a doctor or a nurse. I'm not trying to treat, diagnose, or cure you from any diseases, and I have to tell you that. So a kitchen remedy is a home remedy that has been passed down through generations to help to support your body's health. So what we're going to be focused on tonight are things that you can find most likely in your medicine, or not your medicine cabinet, sorry, your herb cabinet or your refrigerator. That's going to be really our focus tonight. I typically talk a lot about essential oils. I talk a lot about supplements. That is not what tonight is about. Tonight is just about going way back in time and using what our mothers, what our grandmothers, what our aunts, what our great aunts had at their fingertips, and also something that you can use in a pinch that you don't have to run out to the drugstore for, that you don't have to place an order for that you can just have on hand during the fall and winter time to help to support your body and also your family's body as well. So let's start off with some overall wellness support. Here are some things I'm going to share with you tonight. One is going to be a fire cider recipe. And this, I'll share the full recipe on the next page. This is something that I just had a girlfriend share with me, and she team taught it with me at a women's workshop. And this is for wellness support. So this is an immune supportive, just dietary remedy. And you can also take it as needed if anyone in your house falls ill. I'm going to share all the ingredients. There's a whole laundry list of things that you could find in your refrigerator and put into here. In addition, so I'm going to share that full recipe with you. In addition, something that we always do in our home, always, if anyone, and even in wintertime in general, we limit our dairy and also our processed sugar intake. Both of those can cause extra inflammation within the body, but especially if anyone starts to feel any type of under the weather, we immediately cut dairy, we immediately cut processed sugars, and we'll do this for multiple days just to help the body, because both of those are inflammatory. In addition, they cause additional mucus within your body. So those are things that we just do as a good common practice. And the third that I'm going to share right here, and I'm going to share some more in-depth recipes with you on the next 2 slides, are regular Epsom salt baths. But this is an Epsom salt bath taken to the next level. So this is what we do in our household. We take equal parts Epsom salt, equal parts peroxide, and baking soda. So for an adult, I would use 1 cup of each. And for a child, like for my son, he's 6, I use a half cup of each. I mix all of them into a bath. If anyone is not feeling well, but I will also do this about once a week, just as a preventative. But this is like a super detox bath to draw out lots of stuff. Now, when you're taking Epsom salt baths, or if you're doing detox baths, you want to make sure that your water intake is much, much, much higher than usual, because it could cause dehydration as well. But the Epsom salt, the peroxide, and the baking soda in hot water, so as hot as your body is still comfortable in the bath, and to be in there for 30 minutes. So for my son, I just put loads of toys in there. I give him a good, like really, really, really warm bath, and he knows the deal. He is in there for 30 minutes. I'll even set a timer. He'll play, and then I'll take him out. But I do this for myself as well. I'm actually long overdue for a detox bath, but that is my favorite detox bath recipe. So let's dig into some of these super duper kitchen remedies. The first one is fire cider. So this one is spicy. You're going to notice a theme here, especially for fall and winter time. Fall and winter time, and like I said, you're going to get a printout of all of this as well, but fall and winter time, your goal needs to be to bring warmth to your body. Now, I'm not saying that if you go out with a wet head that you're going to catch cold. I'm not saying that, okay? But I am saying that your body and your internal organs are already working overtime, just trying to keep you warm and trying to digest your food and trying to do their normal functions when your body is cold. So the best thing that you can do, and what you're going to see in a lot of these remedies, is bringing warmth to the body. So I don't know about you, but I am like a barefoot girl. I like to sleep in shorts. I don't like to be hot, but these are things that I have learned to kind of retrain myself with. So I've invested in really good wool socks, not itchy wool, but like comfy wool socks to wear to keep my feet nice and warm and to keep them on my feet, especially when I'm in the house on our hardwood floors. And a lot of these remedies are going to be bringing warmth to the body to warm your internal organs up. Fire cider is definitely one of those. So this is a spicy vinegar that was created decades upon decades ago. How many of you have tried this? Let me know in the comments if you have tried fire cider or if you're a fire cider person. And There are all different ways, like all different ingredients that you can put into this, but this is the recipe that I just learned. So this is the recipe that I'm going to teach you. And it is a very strong, assertive taste of spice, of sweetness, of sour. And the way that you take this, you would take 1 to 3 tablespoons a day as a preventative, and you can mix it with water. You can also mix it with a little bit of honey. But if something more, if you need something more, if something is happening in your life, right, that you fall below the wellness line, you can take about 1 tablespoon every hour during the day, like taking shots, okay, all day long. You can dilute it with a little bit of water if desired, but that's what you do. And the ingredients in this one is going to be onions, horseradish, garlic, ginger. Now, these are all fresh ingredients. Cayenne pepper, you could use dried instead for that one. Thyme, peppercorns, lemon, raw honey, and unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Okay. Some add-ons, you could also put in some turmeric in there, some allspice, some cinnamon to help with some different, anti-inflammatory properties, cardiovascular support with the cinnamon there. But that is the recipe. So you're going to make it, and then it has to sit in a cool, dry place, dark, dry place for about 2 to 3 weeks. So if this is something that you want to use, this is something that you want to gather those ingredients like soon, okay? Prepare this bad boy up, let it sit, and in 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to be very happy that you have it, because it's going to be one of those things that's going to automatically bring warmth to the body. It's going to bring, some comfort to your throat. It's going to be something to just kick whatever is happening out, okay? So this is a really great remedy. I'm just going to check the chat thread real quick. Awesome. Yes. Okay. I'm going to let in some people. Okay. So that's fire cider. Next one is going to be cayenne tea. Okay. So again, this is to bring warmth to the body. Now, I remember years ago hearing about like a cayenne tea metabolic, like weight loss diet, something like that. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but this is different. This is just, again, you use this, you don't drink it every single day, but you drink this if you start to fall a little bit below the wellness line. So I'm talking about at first sniffle, at first itchy throat, at first I'm a little bit more tired than usual. And this is meant to bring warmth to your body, to help you to sweat, to help you get whatever is happening out, and to also speed the process along. So to speed your digestion along, and to really help to support your immune system in just working properly. And this is super simple. You bring a cup of water to a boil, place the cayenne powder, just an 1/8 or a 1/4 teaspoon into a cup, pour the hot water over it, add lemon juice and honey and stir, and sip really, really slowly. Because it's going to bring a lot of warmth to your body. So this is something that you may need to get a little bit used to, but it's something that you're going to want to use as soon as you start to fall below the wellness line. How many of you love like spicy things? Any of you love all that stuff? All right, next up is upper respiratory support. Okay, so here are some of my tried and true recipes, and I'm going to give you more information about all of these too. So one that we use all the time is the ginger chest wrap. I've talked about this so many different times. I'm giving you the full recipe. I'm also giving you other resources for this as well. I think that it's really helpful when you have all the step-by-step recipes there. This is incredible for cough, chest congestion, for bronchitis or for pneumonia, the chamomile steam for congestion, for sore throat, for cough, and for an earache. And then thyme tea with honey. So this is something that I use a lot in my household, just straight up thyme tea. So use 2 teaspoons of dried thyme with 1 cup boiling water, steep for 10 minutes, add 1 tablespoon of raw local honey. This is incredible to sip on just for relief from a cough, or from if you need extra upper respiratory support, just straight up thyme is the way to do it. I laugh because my mom can never find the dried thyme in my spice cabinet because I always keep it with my tea. Like I always have it in there. I make weak thyme tea for my son. So I do it just a little bit, not as strong for him. And it works really, really well, to help to support your upper respiratory system. Here's the ginger wrap. So this recipe is rather long, but I'm telling you, like, it works. I've had so many people try this and they're amazed at how it works, especially for a lingering cough. Do any of you have that happens in your household where someone will like get a cough and it seems to last for a long time, like weeks and weeks and weeks, and other things will start to feel better, but that cough just kind of lingers? This is what you want. So I also included all the YouTube links. So this one has step-by-step directions with it, but you should not use this if you're allergic to ginger. And the really only ingredient from your kitchen is going to be powdered ginger that you use with this. You're also going to need cold water. You're going to need warm water, and then a series of different wraps that you will take. You're going to create a compress that you're going to wring out with warm water and the ginger powder. You put it around the patient's chest and back. And then what I take is like a very long wool or flannel scarf, and I wrap it around the person. And I don't make them, but I do make them lay in bed with blankets covered over them for a good half an hour. And during this time period, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but I have old school red rubber hot water bottles that I fill up. We have 2 of those in our house. I put one by the stomach, by the core area, and one underneath the feet. Why? To bring more warmth to the body, right? So do any of you have those? Do you know what I'm talking about? So that's a great question, Angela, about the thyme vitality as opposed to the dried thyme. If you're using thyme vitality rather than the dried thyme, I would mix that first within honey. And then I would add the hot water to that, okay? Just to make sure that it evenly disperses throughout the mug rather than you having hot spots of thyme oil. And that's how you would make a tea really in general from your oils. That's a great question. So you wrap it around, have them rest for 30 minutes. Once you take the wrap off, I then just take olive oil and rub the chest. So something that I learned that I had never known, because whenever I had made chest rubs before from essential oils and things like that, I'd always used coconut oil. What I learned is that there are oils that are better to use during the fall and winter time, which actually promote warmth to the body, rather than coconut oil, which doesn't necessarily bring warmth. It actually makes the body more cool. Olive oil is going to be an oil that helps to promote warmth to the body. In addition, if you are making a homemade chest wrap or chest, what am I trying to say? Chest rub, I would use beeswax melted down with some olive oil rather than coconut oil, because coconut oil is not going to help to warm the body, but the beeswax is going to do a nice layer. It's going to be, it's going to make sure that it gets onto the body well. It's going to bring warmth to the body. In addition, diluting it with olive oil is going to make it a better consistency as well. So that is what I use instead. I never knew that before. And the chamomile steam. I've talked about this 1,000 times, but I use this week. I was just traveling last weekend. I got home. I started to feel just like some kind of way in my head. And immediately I took out my dried chamomile. I grew this in my garden, but I never, ever, ever grow enough. So I always supplement this. And I have a large canister just of dried chamomile flowers. I get them organic from Amazon. You can get them from lots of other natural food stores as well. And I just take a large bowl. I put a teaspoon, 1 to 3 teaspoons of chamomile into the bowl. And then I add boiling water on top. I put a towel over top of it, and I tent my face underneath it, and it works wonders. It's great for your skin, but not only that, it helps with nasal congestion, sinus pressure, sore throat, coughs, earaches, all the different things. And it's something that I even use with my son. I do a different version with him where I put him in, I make him like a tent, and I put that in the center of it. And we call it a campfire, so he knows not to touch it. And that steam just kind of fills up the little tent that we make. And it is so soothing. It works incredibly well. I will also add a drop of oregano oil if you have it, just because that's so good for sinuses. But the chamomile itself is very, very healing. And I would do a steam like this about once a day. Yes, Denise, I'm so glad that works for you too. With the oregano, it gives you immediate relief. And like I said, I love it with the chamomile flowers because it's extremely gentle, especially if you've been blowing your nose a lot, or your sinus passages are like tender. It's really gentle, yet extremely effective. Okay. I'm going to share this one with you. A friend shared this with me, and this is citrus syrup. Okay. Also known as something else. I'll let you read it for yourself. And this is homemade. Okay. So you can look up all different recipes like this, but my son, maybe like over a month ago, maybe almost 2 months ago, he had a cold, and he got better within 3 days. He was fine. But then about 4 or 5 days later, I noticed that he came back, but it was just like this cough, which is a typical MO thing for him. That's like his weak part of his body. It always has been. So I was talking to my girlfriend, and I said, listen, like, I don't know, I'm doing all the things, but I feel like this is just lingering. And she said, have you ever tried citrus syrup? And I said, no. And she said that she had some. So she gifted me some, which was the sweetest thing ever. So you keep this in the fridge, and you could freeze some for later. And this is just 1 grapefruit peel, 2 or 3 lemon peels. Okay. You place them in a pot, just cover them with water, cover with a lid, bring it to boil, reduce to simmer for 2 hours, remove from heat, and allow to cool before removing the lid. You don't want any steam to escape. Strain it, keep it in the fridge, and you can freeze extra for later. And dosage is 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3 times a day until symptoms are gone. This is bitter, I'm going to tell you that. So what I did with my son, I mixed it with some honey, and I used this. It made an incredible natural cough syrup. But beyond that, if you take a look at the antioxidant properties that are in these 2 peels, they are incredible. They're amazing. And this is really great to have on hand. The only thing is it takes a while to make. So you want to just like have some on hand, have it sitting within your refrigerator so that you can use it as you need it as well. I'm just taking a look at some of the comments. Yes, Karen, I do organic citrus. Yeah, 100% I do. So, and yeah, Denise, you could definitely try that to see how that works. I know this recipe calls for the peels, but you could definitely try that and see how that works as well, using the oils with that too. But this, I was amazed. It was like I used it, and the next day he was good to go, which was really exciting. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Next up is ears and fever. Okay, so first things first, there is a natural progression of a fever that we do not want to stop, and we do not want to stunt a fever. I remember when I first had my son, I was told by the pediatrician to give him Tylenol or ibuprofen, or Tylenol and ibuprofen, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and that a fever was like a very scary, not okay thing. And the more research, and I recommend that you do your own research on this to find out what you're comfortable with, but look up the cycle of a fever. A fever goes through a natural cycle. The purpose of a fever is to have the body go through a natural maturation process and to get stronger, to build natural immunity to whatever it's trying to fight off. If we are stunting the fever, if we are not allowing the body to go into having a fever, chances are, one, you're going to be sick much longer than the time period that that your body is meant to fight this off. Two, you are not going to develop that natural immunity. You're going to get sick again and again with the same thing. And three, there is evidence that shows that there is a link between autoimmune disorders down the line and fever reducers very early in life. So not saying, I mean, again, do your own research on that, but there's a definite cycle that you want to look for with a fever. And one of them involves a peak, and then a climax, and then the gradual fall that happens with that. So what I'm going to share with you today is a remedy that's called a lemon calf wrap. And that is specifically for a fever or restlessness, or even hallucinations associated with a fever. And I am going to share that with you. But again, this is not to stop a fever. This is to help your body go through that natural process, and also to just bring comfort to the body. So growing up, I know that something common was to want to put a child who has a fever in a cold bath, right? To bring down their body temperature like dramatically and quickly. And from what I've heard from my doctor, is that is not what you want to do at that stage. When your body is in a fever, you actually, again, want to bring warmth to the body, which seems counterintuitive, but that's where that hot water bottle is going to come into play. Even like a knit cap on the head, lots of blankets. Bringing warmth to the body is essential in order for the body to continue to go through that process to then get to the healing stage. So I'm going to explain the lemon calf wrap in detail, the onion compress on the ear, which is something that we use all the time, and something that I have been really amazed that works wonders for an earache. And then just reiterating about the hot water bottle. So these are the hot water bottles that we have in our home. I have two of them, again, so that one can be kept right by the core and one can be kept right underneath the feet. I fill them up with water just from my kettle. And we have whoever isn't feeling well sleep with them too, just to continue to bring that warmth, that safe warmth to the body. Yes, I used to use hot water bottles, right, when I was like a teenager too, and I would get cramps as well. And then I know that my mom switched over to like an electric heating pad, electric heating blanket. I love these way more. I think that they're a little bit safer. And I just think that it works really well. So this is what I would recommend. So let's talk about the lemon calf wrap. Okay, materials for this one. Or let's talk about when you wouldn't use this. If the feet are extremely, extremely cold, so you want to make sure that you're bringing warmth to the feet, having them covered with socks, things like that, especially if someone is under the weather. And if there's no fever, you're not going to use this. Some materials, what you need are 1 lemon, 1 large bowl, a knife, a fork, 2 cups of very warm water, knee-high cotton socks, and knee-high wool socks. If you do not have wool socks, I highly recommend that you get some. They are not as itchy and crazy as the ones that I remember when I was younger. They have much better ones. We get ours from a company that's called Smart Wool, and we absolutely love them. They're comfy, they're cozy, and they're just perfect for fall and winter time, even hiking, doing all those things. And a warm water bottle for warming the feet before applying the lemon socks. That's important too. You want to make sure that the feet are warm before you would do this. So the patient should be dressed warmly, lying in bed. Again, breathable, natural fabrics too. So think about like cotton fabrics so that the body can breathe but still be nice and warm. Before beginning, check the temperature of the feet. If the feet are cold, apply a warm water bottle to warm them first. You place the lemon into a bowl, pour the very warm water over the lemon, using the fork to stabilize the lemon. So you kind of poke it, hold it in there. Cut the lemon in half underneath the water. Working under the water releases the essential oil that's in the rind into the water. After this score, the rind of the lemon half an array from the uncut end to the middle. And you're going to make those cuts, those scores all throughout the lemon. So each half looks like a 5-petal flower. So you're going to cut, 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 cut to kind of open up that lemon. Saturate the cotton socks in the lemon water. So you're going to take them and put them in, get them completely wet and soaking. And then you're going to wring them out as dry as possible and immediately put them on the patient so that they're still warm. Then you're going to wring out the socks. Immediately put the wool socks that are going to be dry over top of the cotton socks. Leave them on for 20 to 60 minutes, as long as the patient can tolerate it, and remove them if they become cold. Okay. And the whole point of this is to organize the warmth in the body so the person is better able to tolerate the fever. It's not going to completely reduce the fever to normal, because that's not the goal of a fever. It's not. The patient should feel better. The fever may come down slightly. It's going to make them more comfortable, but it's not going to eliminate the fever. Ooh, alpaca socks. That sounds amazing. Where do you get those, Natasha? That sounds wonderful, especially bonus points if they're local. I would love to know about that. So that is the lemon calf wrap. And then some of you have heard me talk about this. I also have a YouTube video for this one because we use it so much in our household. When my son was a little bit younger, he would get ear infections, not frequently, but regularly, like every season, I would say, besides the summertime. So this is a great remedy for any type of earache, any type of inflammation, any type of infection that may be happening within the ear. This is great for adults, not just for children, but it works really, really well. Don't do this if you're allergic to onions. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you, Robin. Robin shared some alpaca farm info. Perfect. Yeah, please share with everyone. Share in the event then too, if you can, so that everybody can have that information. I would love some alpaca socks. So what you're going to do here, you're going to take half of an organic onion. Do not let this be an onion that has been sitting in your refrigerator or in your freezer. This has to be a fresh onion. You're going to cut the onion in half. And you are going to take a sliver of the onion. You're going to chop it up, and you're going to place it in the cotton cloth that you have. So what I use a cloth napkin. I chop up the onion, I put it into there, and then I fold it up. So I fold all 4 sides, to make it be a compress. You can take a little bit of tape. I usually use like masking tape, take a little piece, close it up. And then on the outside, it's going to look like just a square compress. Put it right over top of the ear. But what you can do first is warm this on a hot water bottle. Okay, so warm it up for a couple minutes. This says 5 minutes. Put the onion compress over the ear. Okay, and then you're going to take a hat, a snug winter hat, and place it on top to hold it in a place. That compress can be kept in place for several hours. And some of you who have kids are like, yeah, that's not happening. That's okay. It doesn't have to be several hours. What I do is if somebody has an earache or an ear infection, they feel rather cruddy. And if it's right before bedtime, I do this, I prepare it, I put it on, I put the hat on. Again, keep the body nice and warm. You want to do the same thing with like PJs, all the things. The hot water bottle to the body. And as long as they will keep the hat on, that is a blessing. I did this with my son. He kept it on for a little while and then he just kind of tossed it off after I had taken him to the doctor, and the doctor had checked his ears and said that he had a double ear infection. I came home, I tried this. I asked her to give me a chance to try this before we did an antibiotic with him treatment. And she said that I could, and that I could bring him back in 2 days just to recheck his ears. And if they weren't clear, then we could go from there and make a decision together. I did this for 2 nights on both of his ears because he had a double ear infection. I took him back 2 days later. It was completely cleared. I didn't believe that it would stay. And I literally took him back for 2 weeks to the doctor. The next week she did a recheck. Everything was still fine. The next week we did a recheck. Everything was still clear. And now if I notice, like if he says anything about his ear, I'll put it on. And I've used this on myself. I've also used it on my husband too. Thank you guys for all the alpaca resources. The only side effect is that you might smell like an onion for a little while, just to let you know that, but there's worse things. Okay, and these resources I think that you're going to love. So here is a book that had a lot of the remedies in it from tonight, Alchemy of Herbs by Rosalie de la Forêt. That is a fantastic one. That's where the fire cider recipe is, the Cayenne Tea. This book, Compresses and Other Therapeutic Applications, a handbook from the Ida Wegman Clinic by Finnegato. That is where the chest wrap recipe, the steam recipe, a couple of the other recipes all came from that book. And then there's another book that's called 500 Time Tested Home Remedies and the Science Behind Them. And I think that is just a fantastic book, a good winter read, so that you can take a look at that and get some other remedies, get some other information from them. So I am going to hit stop. So what is one remedy that you heard about this evening that you think you're going to adopt and use in your home this fall and or winter? Let me know in the comments below. And I am going to get you the link so that you can take 1 minute, fill out the quick little thing, give me your email. And what I'm going to do is I will email you the entire presentation. So you have all of the recipes. You can just print them out, staple them together, or put them into a binder or something like that, and have that so that you can have all these recipes at your fingertips. So let me get that as well as you're answering that. Okay. I'm putting the form here. I will also put the form in the event as well. Okay, so fire cider, all of them, yay. Onion wrap, the citrus syrup. Yeah, that stuff is no joke at all. Like, it was amazing. Fire cider, citrus syrup, cool. Ginger chest compress, fire cider for sure. Most of the others if needed. Yep, and that's the thing too. It's like, these are all to add to your toolbox, right? And you know what happens in your home, and you know the week parts of you and your family members' bodies. At least I know what happens in our home. My husband, it's always right away to his sinuses. Me, it's always my throat. And my son, it's always his chest. And it's like clockwork, like it goes there right away. So what do I do with nutrition and prevention? I nourish those areas. Okay. And there's ways that you can look up those weak spots of the body and how you can nourish those areas. For instance, with my son and his chest being weak, parsley, Italian parsley, is amazing for chest and for lung health. So I will throw that into his smoothies when I make them. I'll make sure that when I make him pasta, do things like that. Like I put in dried parsley as much as possible to help to nourish that area. All right, thyme tea, fire cider, citrus syrup, fire cider. Yeah, oh my gosh, the chamomile is just, Erin, I think you're gonna love that. Yes, I love this. Karen Shepherd, gone are the days of all the cough medicine, right? Like going there, staring at all the things. What am I going to get? What am I going to do? What side effects, right? And I don't know about you, but I'm super sensitive to medication in general. So I remember taking things like that, not being able to sleep, having such a difficult time. I'm so thankful for this community too. Thyme tea, chamomile steam. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do, fill that little thing out, the little questionnaire. I will get those to you by the end of the week. I will get the whole presentation to you. If you have questions, reach out to me. You have all my contact information, and share when you do these things, because I love hearing those stories too. People send me all the time pictures of their kids wearing onion hats. And I don't know that the kids are like the most thrilled. But my son now just knows that it's part of the thing. If this is what happens, this is what's going to make him feel better. So he's not as reluctant to do it. But I love seeing that and just hearing those stories too. And this is meant to make you feel more empowered in your home and with your health and with your wellness as well. So that is what we have. And next week's workshop is all about parasites. So it's parasites part 2. Katie Smith is going to be leading that. So you have all of the link for that. That will be also in the email that I send to you. And like I said, just reach out if you have any questions. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope that all of you have a great night.